out here.
It
It does look
is.
kind of weird.
Welcome to Florida.
The future is bright, right?
Yeah, work this out. Thank you.
It looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's funny, but it looks kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly.
So why come to Florida?
Why come to Florida?
Yeah, are you spending a lot of attention on swing states right now, or?
I'm in Florida today, and I'm in Virginia tomorrow. I come here because New York is all sewed up, so there's not much good I can do there, but I think obviously we all know Florida is really important and it's really close, so any little bit I can nudge, if I reach even, one person, I think it's worth coming.
Any reason Sarasota in particular has drawn you?
They're just taking me all around the state, so no.
And what made you, I heard you talk about before you were talking to Michelle, I mean, what made you join the crowd or join the party?
So I campaigned for the president 4 years ago, and I partly campaigned mostly in Florida. And I guess she just really brought home to me how close it's going to be, and how precinct by precinct it can only really be a handful of votes. And I thought, well, that's worth it then. I thought maybe I'd waited too long and it was kind of the end game, but I think what's really important now is getting out the vote, particularly in places like Florida where there's early voting, encouraging people to make sure they come out and vote, and then get freed up on election day to maybe phone bank or canvass or even drive people to the polls who maybe have no other way to get there.
How does the campaign compare to what you saw in 2008? Do you think there's the same enthusiasm, the same organization when you travel to these offices?
I've just started. This is my only second stop today. I mean, I think that I feel like 4 years ago we were all very excited about the president and what he could do. And maybe so it's the difference between a courtship and a marriage. That first, blush of love maybe has more excitement to it. But I feel like with a marriage, with someone that you know much better, maybe there are things that we wished he had done differently. But we have a whole list of accomplishments and a history with him to look at, and things that I'm very proud of that he's done, and 4 more years to build on those.
Does this feel closer to you? Do you think that some of these events could, this makes a difference here in the
I think it is. I think it is closer. I mean, I think that he was very close in some states last time that were traditionally red states, but I think that nobody even ever expected him to get. So there were close margins, but I think things are very close in places like Florida and Ohio that are big states that are swing states and that are very important.
You brought up LGBT issues. Is that, it hasn't really been discussed in the race at all. Would you like to hear more about it?
I don't think it is. I would so disagree with you. I think that the Republican and Democratic conventions were a study in contrast. I think that gay people were completely absent from the Republican convention, and we had so many people talking about don't ask, don't tell, and talking about marriage equality, and talking about visitation rights and things like that, and the repeal of DOMA. I feel like I think even gay people themselves were overwhelmed by how much they were in the limelight when perhaps previously they had kind of been at the back of the room.
I have a question. You can look that way again.
Okay.
But your message today was talking to women voters.
Yes.
Through the last few days here leading up to the election, as you go from state to state, county to county, is that going to continue to be your message, just women voters? And why is that message so important?
I feel like these are two very, very different candidates with very different ideas of what America is and what America should be. But I feel like that it's certainly, as a woman myself, as the mother of a daughter, it's really important to me that women's health be protected. I feel like every week we have another Republican candidate running for office who will come out with another doozy like the gentleman in Washington did today. That, women's right to contraception and abortion, these should be unquestioned. This is not stuff for politicians to be deciding, for bureaucrats to be deciding. This is a choice between a woman and her doctor, and as Michelle said at the convention, you know, Barack Obama understands that women are grown-ups and they're not children. They don't need to be corralled and controlled and told what to do. They need to be able to make these decisions for themselves. And I feel like Mitt Romney and the rest of his party doesn't feel that way, that women have to somehow be kept from themselves. And they don't know what's best for them, and he's just wrong.
Do you think Sex in the City actually increased the volume on women's rights at all?
I think that, first let me say that I think that, you know, I'm here, of course, as myself today, but I know that Kristen and Sarah and Kim are all voting for the president, and I know that somewhere off in TV land that Miranda and Carrie and Charlotte and Miranda are also voting for the president. I don't think Sex in the City, I'm not sure what your question was, increased women's
Well,
what?
increase the volume, increase the amount of conversation and the importance
I think
of
definitely Sex in the City increased the conversation. And I think it was certainly a show that was about female empowerment on a lot of levels. But I think one thing was that that women could be independent and happy. They didn't necessarily have to be married, or didn't necessarily, being mothers wasn't maybe the be-all and end-all of their dream. That they could be happy making decisions for themselves. And it's not right for every woman, but it certainly is a very valid choice and a very valid truth for a lot of women. And I think Sex and the City didn't create that or anything, but I think it revealed it.
Cynthia, if you were to meet an undecided voter here, say in Sarasota, what would you say to him?
I would say, who do you trust? Who do you trust to take care of America? Who do you trust who's been saying the same things not only for 4 years, but for 6 years, for 8 years? Who stays true to his vision and has a big tent vision for America and for not only America's health at the present time, but the future. I feel like I don't agree with most or maybe all of Mitt Romney's positions, but it's kind of hard to tell because, you know, you check in with him week to week, month to month, and they're completely different. I wish I knew who the real Mitt Romney was so that I could tell whether I agreed with him or not, because frankly, particularly on some of his issues that don't play very well, like women's health, he just tries to change what he thinks. I mean, right now I'm coming from New York, where we've had this terrible, terrible storm, and there's $10 billion+ worth of damage. And I think that the president going around with Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, and stating over and over again that the federal government is with them to lend any support and immediate support, cut through the red tape, that's what you need to hear in a time of crisis. Well, Mitt Romney up to this point has been saying that FEMA is really something he would do away with. Well, he's not saying that anymore because obviously you might think FEMA costs a lot, but when there's a disaster, when your home is destroyed, you're going to want FEMA. And Barack Obama understands that that's what government is for. Government is there in a time of crisis, and we can't leave things to the states necessarily. They may not have the ability to deal with them. That's why we have a federal government.
One last fun question for
Yes.
you. Are you going to plan on doing anything while you're here in Sarasota and enjoying our beautiful city?
Oh, so many people have talked to me about the theater here, the Oslo, and how I guess I have to come back and see it. But no, because I'm heading off to Tampa, so and I'm going to be in Virginia tomorrow, so it's a bit of a
You have an
whirlwind
open
tour.
invitation anytime.
Yes,
Thank you.
we'd love to have you
Well,
back.
Even just the tiny little drive around I took, it's so beautiful.
Is this the first time you've ever been here?
I think so, yeah.
We're free for lunch.
Thank you.
I don't know that I am. Thank you.